So I want to talk about something that's been brought to my attention recently, and that is a certain perception regarding how languages should be learned. There seem to be two major divisions that have formed within the language learning community. One is people who believe in acquiring a language implicitly via comprehensible input, and those who believe in more explicit study. Implicit learners believe that the best way to learn a language is through massive amounts of input, so that could be reading, watching movies and TV shows, listening. Languages aren't learned, they're slowly absorbed and acquired. Drills are often dismissed as ineffective or even harmful. Output that is done too early is discouraged. Grammar study is sometimes seen as unnecessary or counterproductive. And if you're not immersing yourself in hours of input, then they say that you could be sabotaging your long-term gains or lead to unnatural ultimate attainment of the language. That's one side. On the other side, the explicit learners believe that language learning is done through active study. So that can include drills, flashcards, courses, grammar explanations that you learn by thinking and understanding and piecing the bits and pieces of the language together. In this view, language learning is inherently work. It is supposed to involve practice and refining, and progress only comes from effort and discipline. And it almost seems like the people from both of these camps are kind of becoming more polarized, as if it's part of their own identity. So you hear people say, I'm a grinder, or I am an input purist. And it's almost creating this strange artificial binary within the language learning sphere, where you might feel like you have to pick a side, which brings me to the main point that I want to make in this video, and that is there are always multiple valid ways of accomplishing the same goal. 9 plus 1 equals 10, just as much as 8 plus 2 does. People differ wildly about how they concentrate, what motivates them, how they handle repetition, boredom, frustration, ambiguity, and all of that is part of language learning. Some people generally enjoy drills. They like structure, checklists, measurable progress, and a clear answer that comes with that. Others find that same structure suffocating and burn out quickly and need learning that's more organic or enjoyable. Neither is wrong, and you don't have to pick a side. The point is to make meaningful progress within the conditions that you've set for yourself and the time frame that you set. As long as those methods eventually lead to functional fluency, then whichever combination you choose is perfectly fine. We're not looking for perfection. We are looking for progress. Perfection is part of the progress. It's part of the growth of this experience. And I'll use myself as an example. Last year, I finished Dreaming Spanish to learn Spanish, and that is a purely comprehensible input approach. So I wanted to test out their method and nothing else. I'm grateful for doing it. I made great progress. It generally kept my interest for over 2 years, more than any other method has. However, right now, as of February 2026, I think I prefer more of a combination of explicit and implicit learning. So that'll be simple drills, minimal grammar notes, plus comprehensible input in the form of movies, videos, and video games. What that might look like for me is some Duolingo and YouTube. But I'm not pigeonholing myself into any one thing. I tested methods out. I saw what I liked, what I didn't, and I only kept what was conducive to my long-term language goals. I saw that at least for the first foreign language that I learned, Spanish, that pure comprehensible input wasn't enough within the time frame that I set for myself. But that could be different for you. You could try a more comprehensible input approach and love it, or you could hate it and hate that feeling of ambiguity that comes with it and switch to academic books and love academic books. Language learning is a very long journey and it never really ends. So the point is to do something that resonates with you and not what other people tell you to. Now, there is one caveat that I briefly mentioned before, and that is the method that you pick has to actually work. So that's actually the crux of the matter, I think, with these two sides. One thinks one is more effective than the other, and that might be true. The jury is still out. There's research that's still coming in, comparing implicit learning versus explicit, comprehensible input, all of that. But as of now, most of the research generally points to a mixture of the two being ideal for most people. Regardless, as long as you're doing something that you enjoy, that will get you past that intermediate B1 hump, you'll reach fluency. There isn't any one best path to go up the mountain. There are many paths because we're many different people. So just keep an open mind, test out various methods so you can see what you gravitate towards, create a sustainable routine, and enjoy the whole process. And eventually you will get past that point and you'll love it. I do. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week and have a great day. Bye.